There are 8 overlooked habits secretly ruining your gut bacteria, and most of them have nothing to do with what's on your plate. Hi everyone, it's Marisa with Bumblebee Apothecary. Welcome back to my channel. If you've been eating well and taking your probiotics, but you're still dealing with bloating, sluggish digestion, or just not feeling like yourself, this video is going to connect some dots that almost nobody talks about. And stick with me to the very end because this last piece is the one that I see most people miss. And it's usually the reason why nothing else has worked. Now, I am a certified gut wellness coach. I am not a medical doctor. And everything that I'm sharing here comes from my own experience as well as my experience working with clients. And if you're looking for a simple step-by-step guide to start feeling better this week, you'll definitely want to check out my free Gut Reset Jumpstart Guide. It's linked down in the description below this video. Now, the first habit is something that I've talked about before, but it's one I'll keep bringing up because it's such a doable change that we can start doing right now. It's one that I was guilty of for years without even realizing it, and that's eating while stressed or rushed. Here's the thing that took me a long time to understand. Your gut bacteria respond hugely to the way food actually arrives to them, and that's shaped entirely by what's happening upstream before the food even goes into your body. When you're eating in a hurry, standing at the counter, scrolling your phone, halfway out the door, your body is in fight or flight mode. And in fight or flight mode, digestion basically is not running. You're not making the stomach acid and the enzymes you need. So the food shows up to your gut bacteria poorly broken down, and they have to make the best of a messy situation. I've seen people focus on nothing else except just calming down before eating meals, sitting down, taking a few breaths, and in doing this, experience years of bloating settle with 0 supplements added and no diet changes. So you don't have to overhaul your diet to start here. Just pause before your next bite. Sit down, take a breath, soften your shoulders, let your body know it's safe to digest and enjoy your food. It really can be that simple to begin. This next habit is one that feels really proactive and responsible, which is exactly why it's so easy to get stuck in. Running gut microbiome tests to try and find out what's wrong. But here's the thing that I had to wrap my head around. Gut microbiome testing often is not very accurate to begin with. And even when it is, it's only showing you a downstream result. Your microbiome is constantly shifting and adapting to what's happening upstream in your upper digestion, and it shifts based on what your stomach acid, your enzymes, and your bile are actually presenting to it. So a test result is really just a snapshot of the consequences, not the causes. And when we chase the snapshot, we end up trying to fix the result instead of asking the question that really matters, which is, why is my microbiome in the state that it is right now? And that answer is almost always found in your upper digestive system. Think of it like a tree. Chasing test results keeps you way out on the branches, treating this reading and that marker and these symptoms, when the real change happens at the trunk of the tree. And really, coming back to the trunk of the tree is such a relief because it means you can stop spinning and second guessing every test result that comes along. You don't need a perfect printout to start supporting your digestion well. So if you've been spending money and energy on testing and you still feel stuck, please don't feel discouraged. It could just mean that the answer was somewhere in a place that the test couldn't show you. And keep this idea in your back pocket because it's something that's going to come up again later when we get to another habit that makes this same mistake, but in a different disguise. Now, this next habit is one that catches the really self-conscious folks, the ones that are already doing everything right. And it's this. It's drinking reverse osmosis or distilled water without remineralizing it. And this one isn't about chlorine, it's about minerals. Your cells actually need an electrical charge to use the water, and that charge comes from minerals. So demineralized water is, in a sense, water that your body can't fully use. You could drink a gallon of this water a day and still feel depleted. And your gut bacteria thrive in a mineral-rich environment, not to mention that your body needs minerals for so many different important functions. So if you drink reverse osmosis or distilled water, you can add minerals back in. A little high quality mineral salt, a pinch added, or trace mineral drops can make a huge difference in how the water actually serves your body. This is a really small tweak with a huge payoff. Okay, now before we get to the second half of this video, have you ever thought about what's actually in your water? Has water been on your radar as something that impacts your gut specifically, besides the chlorine? That's one that we all know. Let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Also, while we're paused here, if you would like to start making some easy food swaps that reduce inflammation, cravings, and brain fog, make sure to check out my easy real food swaps guide. It's completely free and it's linked down in the description below this video. It pairs perfectly with everything that we're talking about today with simple, easy steps you can start doing that do not overhaul your whole diet or life. Now, this next habit doesn't really sound like a gut habit at all, and that's exactly why it gets overlooked. It's staying up too late at night and using screens in the evening. Your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock, governs so much. Your digestion, your metabolism, your hormones, your blood sugar. And here's the part that most people don't know. Your gut microbiome follows a rhythm too. When you disrupt that clock with blue light and late nights, the repair work that your gut is supposed to do overnight, or it doesn't happen on schedule. And your digestion the next day is compromised before you've even had breakfast. Now, you don't have to become a perfect sleeper with all these pristine habits overnight. Just start by dimming the lights in the evening, putting the screens away a little earlier, and going outside and getting morning sunlight on your face. Your gut does so much of its healing work while you sleep. So protecting that window is a huge gift to your entire body. Now, this next habit might sound a little bit controversial because it's something that a lot of people really think does amazing things, and it's skipping meals or doing intermittent fasting. But the thing is, depending on what your situation your body is in, when you skip meals, you can set your body up for blood sugar crashes. And a blood sugar crash triggers a stress response, which puts you right back into fight or flight, which, you guessed it, shuts down digestion. For somebody who's already not feeling well, fasting can be especially disruptive to both circadian rhythms and metabolic health. The foundation that I always come back to is first stabilizing blood sugar. Protein and fat at all 3 meals. No skipping meals, even eating something in between if needed. So if you've been pushing through mornings on coffee and willpower, give yourself permission to actually eat. A real nourishing breakfast with protein can change how the entire rest of your day feels. This is one of the gentlest and most powerful shifts you can make. This next habit is one that I feel really strongly about because I see it send people in the wrong direction. It's reaching for antimicrobials to try and kill off SIBO, which stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, here's the mindset shift that really changes everything. SIBO is actually a functional digestion problem, not simply a bad bacteria problem. Your small intestine is actually designed to be pretty antimicrobial all on its own. As long as your stomach acid, your pancreatic enzymes, and your bile are flowing the way that they should. So when the approach is just to attack bacteria, it's addressing a symptom while leaving the actual root, things like low stomach acid and sluggish bile, completely untouched. And it can really rough up your wider microbiome in the process. The encouraging news is that supporting your digestion from the top down, your stomach acid, your enzymes, your bile, tends to do this work for you. Sometimes it can feel like the slower path, but it's the one that's actually sustainable and actually holds long term without feeling like you have to keep doing a bunch of maintenance around it. And we're going to talk about the missing piece of that puzzle right now. And here it is, that one that I told you in the beginning to stick around for. Ignoring your liver. This is the missing piece for almost everyone who comes to me after years of doing everything right and still feeling stuck. And I know what this is like because once upon a time, I was that person too. Your liver makes bile, which gets stored in your gallbladder, and bile does so much more than just help you digest fat. It directly shapes your gut environment. It helps keep bacteria from overgrowing where they shouldn't. And it carries things out of the body the way you're designed to get rid of them, such as toxins. So when your liver is congested and your bile is sluggish, you end up with a gut problem that no probiotic supplement can actually fix. You really cannot restrict your way out of a congested liver. And this is why supporting gentle bile flow can feel like the thing that finally lets all of your other efforts click into place. And what are ways to get bile flowing gently? They are things like cooked beets, extra animal fat to help get the bile moving, other gentle liver supports. All of these things can make a world of difference. And when you start here with this, so many of the other habits that we talked about today get easier on their own. And okay, at this point, I'd love to hear from you. Which one of these habits hit home for you? Did any of them sound hard? Was it the chewing one? Maybe remineralizing water? Or did the liver one surprise you like it surprised me when I first learned about it? Drop it in the comments. I love hearing from you and hearing about where you're starting and what you're dealing with. And if you did see yourself in a few of these habits, do not feel discouraged. Feel hopeful, because every single one of these is something that is so fixable, and you don't have to tackle them all at once. In fact, it's much, much better if you do not try to start all of them at once. Just pick the one that felt the most doable to you or that you were drawn to the most and start there this week. Let that habit become second nature before you start adding the next one. And remember, the people who heal the deepest are the ones who go the gentlest. And you absolutely can do this. And if you would like a simple shopping list for better digestion, hormones, and mood, make sure to check out my free Real Food for Real Results shopping guide. It's linked down in the description below this video, along with my free Gut Reset Jumpstart guide and my free Easy Real Food Swaps guide. So now that you know about the 8 overlooked habits that are secretly ruining your gut bacteria, you might be wondering what to eat each week to avoid inflammation. But how do you do that? It all starts by watching this video here next, because when you pair what you're about to learn in this video with what you just learned here, it becomes so much more powerful. If you thought this was helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe so that you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.